Hello viewer and welcome back. I've picked up a nice big piece of walnut from the Symposium the other day, and I want to make a nice big bowl out of it. It's the biggest bowl I've ever done. It's about 11 inches in diameter, and my little lathe can't take much more than that, so that'll do fine. I've already got it on the lathe and done a couple of just basic little jobs, so I haven't done anything special, but I'll show you what I've done and I'll show you the piece of wood because it's absolutely beautiful. Now it's that big, I'll have to zoom out. There. Now, isn't that a lovely piece of wood? I can't wait for this to be finished. It's just a shame there's going to be so much waste, but I haven't got bowl saving equipment yet. I think I'll just have to save up for another couple of years for some of that, but still. What I've done, I've mounted it on a faceplate nice and securely, cut my mortise ready in what will be the base, and I've just started taking a bit of shape off now with my 3/8 spindle gouge, and there's a great crack in it. Now I don't think it goes all the way through to the front, but there is a big crack there. There's a smaller crack there which I can't really get at just yet till I've taken a bit more off. Now this I want to fill with obviously walnut dust, which I haven't got any of at the moment, but I have got a couple of pieces of tiny bits of walnut which I'll run through the saw, which will give me the dust that I need to fill these cracks in. So I'm going to just attempt to do that first, and I'll get back to you when I start turning it again. Right, I've applied a bit of dust and CA. Let's hope that's enough, but we'll soon find out the deeper I go. So I'm just going to carry on now with nice gentle strokes and get a bit of shape on this big lump of wood. Lovely shavings. Right, at the moment, so I'm just trying to concentrate on getting this foot to stick out a bit, so I'm not too bothered about up here. I just want to get the depth of the foot right, and then sand that down. Then I'll concentrate more on the outside, probably with a scraper. I'm just trying to take a bit of meat out now, so I've got about maybe 1/4 of an inch foot. So a piece of wood this size, the lathe takes forever to stop. That's a lot better. Now this crack, you can see it is starting to show. So I'm just gonna take this off, and then I'm gonna take it off the lathe, lie it down flat and treat that crack before I go any further. So I'm just gonna take these couple of steps out, and then I'll take it off the lathe. does seem to be closing up very slightly now, taking a bit more off, but I'm not going to take a chance. So there we go, off the lathe, so the CA glue can soak in. And there it is. So I won't bother with any more dust. I'm just going to really pour some CA in there. I've got some, well, I always use a medium CA for the simple reason I haven't got any other. So give it plenty, and hope it does the job without having to put any unnecessary dust in. I'll leave that for a few minutes, let it soak into the crack, and I'll come back and give it a little bit more. Hope it works, because it's a really lovely piece of wood. Right, see you later. Right, back again. Seems to have gone off nicely, but I shall carry on just scraping it now. I've just sharpened my scraper up. Nice sharp tools. If it reappears, I just have to keep filling it, because it's too good to throw away. This piece is all cut up into pen blanks or something. I moved the camera a bit so you could see more what the actual tool's doing. I hope it helped. The crack seems to be holding up so far, but if necessary I'll keep re-gluing it. Now what I want to do is keep this sort of shallow shape to the whole dish, but maybe put a slight flare around the edge, a sort of flared lip around the top edge. But as you can see, I'm just using the scraper and I'm going very gently, and there's some lovely shavings coming off it, so I know my tool's nice and sharp. So I'm going to carry on with that now, because there's a lot of wood to take off, and it's just more of the same. So when I'm at the next stage, I'll come back to you. Okay, I've took a load of wood off. I've just this minute started getting a little bit of shape now for the flare out, and actually it's a sort of OG shape this is going to be. I decided about 30 seconds ago. So I shall flare this out a bit and round that off, finish that off in there, that little ridge there. I'm just getting the rough shape at the moment, and then I'll finish it off once I'm happy with the shape that I'm attempting to get. The crack is, I can hardly see it now. Yep, it's disappearing. There's a slight bit there, but I'm going to take a bit more off before I treat it again. So all I'm doing there, rubbing the bevel, just taking very light cut off, just to give me that shape, and that will be rounded off once I'm happy with the lip that I want. I'm going to go in a little bit more yet, so I'll just run over that again, and then I'll start rounding this off. A lovely smooth finish on there. As you could see, I hope, I've got the tool more or less on its side, rubbing the bevel in the shape and just bringing the handle of my tool round very slowly, following the line of the cut that I want, following that dished shape there, just like that. I should have done a demonstration at the Symposium, shouldn't I? No, not really. At least with you, I'm only talking to one viewer. That's enough. There. Just taking a little rim off now, rounding that off nicely. Now I should go over this with probably my round tipped carbide cutter and get a nice OG shape on there. Then I'll be turning it round if it hasn't fallen apart by then. Of course, for this, these are a lot thicker, these tools, so you've got to drop your tool rest slightly. Yeah, I'm getting there now. A little bit of finishing work now. Then I shall sand all this down to 240. Then I shall use some Yorkshire grit on it and polish this up. Then I'll turn it round, start digging out a load of wood. Right, I've put my sanding sealant on it. Not rubbed it down because I've applied my Yorkshire grit. I've been rubbing that in by hand without the lathe turning for a couple of minutes, and now I'm going to switch the lathe on and start working it in. As slow as the lathe will go, which in this case is 500. Getting nice and smooth, I can feel it now. And no dust. You see the amount that's coming off. I'll just turn the paper around now, use a fresh piece, turn the lathe up a bit. That's just a couple of minutes working all that in. You can see a shine coming on that already. Right, I'm going to get the remaining Yorkshire grit off with a nice piece, fresh piece of paper towel. See, put it off. Keep turning the towel so you get the most off you can. When the towel's nice and clean, you can't get any more off. Lovely. That's ready for polishing now. Not that it needs much. Right, I'm just going to put a coat of wood wax on it, and then I'll get it turned round. and I think that will do nicely. Yeah, right, onwards and upwards. Going to get my chuck on now, the jaws in expansion mode, get it in the mortise and start hollowing out. That's a lot better. Now I really must get myself a longer tool rest. It's very rare that I actually do a piece this large. Let's get this set up for you. Right, I'm going to put a little groove in, about 20mm in, something like that, with my little pointed carbide cutter, so I know where to go, where I want to go to before I start digging out. And that's given me a good reference mark now. I may change it, you know what I'm like, I might end up doing away with it altogether or whatever. But I'm going to start digging this lot out now. You can see the holes where the faceplate's been. I'm going to use the spindle gouge to start off with. You can use any tool, a good scraper will get a lot of this out. Carbide cutter. But I'm going to start off with this and just do some gentle scrapes just to see how it works. That's removing it quite well. There's another way, I'm just using the edge, the side of the cutting edge at the moment, more or less on its side, but you can go, use the bevel and do it this way. That's just as effective. In fact, it's a bit smoother doing it this way because you're getting more of a finishing cut on it. Well, that's what I think anyway. And there's a lot of wood to remove here, so it's a shame I haven't got anything like a bowl saver, because I could have got a lovely chunk of wood out the middle of this, but it's all going to end up as sawdust shavings. So I've got a lot of wood to remove here. It's a lot more of the same. I say I might use a different cutter, a carbide cutter or a scraper. I'll probably try two or three different tools as I'm getting this lot down, and I'll see you later on when I've removed quite a lot of it. Before I carry on, well, I've done a bit since you last saw me. It's always best, if you remember, I had this crack on the other side, and if you're a bit concerned about that, it's always best to stop now and again and just check that that crack isn't starting to appear this side, because it will need to be sorted out before you carry on, because the last thing you want is the tool catching in the crack and splitting the thing wide open. It can be very dangerous. Now I've started using just a scraper for this now. It seems to be taking a lot of wood off quite quickly, so I've gone onto this rather than the gouge I was using. Let's see if I can get the camera a bit better angle for you. Yeah, I seem to be able to take more wood out quicker with a scraper. It's just what I'm used to. I do use the spindle gouge as much as I can, and I like using it, but I keep going back to a scraper. It's doing a great job. So I'm going to carry on now. Again, a lot more to go yet, so I'll see you later on. Another quick thing, don't forget, keep moving your tool rest in. As you can see now, it's getting quite a gap there. I can get my finger right down there, and I don't really want that. It only takes a few seconds just to adjust your tool rest in a little bit further, nice and close to the work. And make sure everything's clear, which it isn't. That's it. And now I can just about get the tip of my finger in now. Can't get any closer because of the size of the bowl and the banjo itself, so carry on. That's getting down it very nicely now. I'm nearly at the stage where I've got to start thinking about the inner shape, because if you remember, I've done a slight OG shape on the outside, so you want it to match the shape on the inside. So don't go too far in before you start realising I haven't got enough to shape the inside. So I've got another ½ inch to go, and then I can start thinking about putting that same shape on the inside of the bowl as is on the outside. I've also got the speed turned up now. It was only on for 500 before. I've turned it up to about 800 now, and now I'm going to turn it up a bit more. The lighter the bowl gets, I'm more confident, so I'll turn it up to 1000 or so and carry on. Right, believe it or not, I found my old tool rest, which I'd forgotten I'd got, which does help on something this big. Now I've started now just to roughly shape the inside to match the outside. So I've gone in slightly deeper there, and then there's like a little plateau there, gone in deeper there and flattening it out. I've still got quite a lot of wood to take out, but I thought if I start doing the shape now, then I can keep to those contours and eventually smooth it off. Now it's just a question of carrying on to that basic shape. I'm not worried about the ridges at the moment. They can come in my finishing cuts when I'm a lot nearer the thickness that I need. So I should carry on with that basic shape now for another ½ inch, and then we should be able to start to put the finishing cuts on. Okay, that's most of it took out now. I'm just going to put the final finishing cuts on there. There's a few little grooves I've got to get rid of and round off. I'm more or less at the shape I want. Now this lip, I'm going to curve that quite a bit as well to more or less shape it in with the outside of the bowl. And then a few nice, fine, hardly touching finishing cuts with the scraper, and we'll see what it looks like. Be a little bit lower. Okay, now I'm going to start the sanding process. Really going to take my time on this. I want this to be as perfect as possible. It's a beautiful piece of wood and I want to get the best finish I can possibly get on it. At the moment it looks like the tiny little marks that are still in it I should be able to sand out. If not, I'm going to keep going back to it and put a very fine scrape on it until I'm happy with it. I thought I was happy with the outside until I found one little piece yesterday, and so even the outside is going to get sanded back again, all the polish off it, and sand it down again, and it's going to take a long time, so I shan't bore you with it because it's going to take me hours probably. Right, a few hours later I've got it to just about as good as I can get it, I think. I've just given it a good coating of sanding sealer so I can feel the grain. You can probably hear it. So it's not a very smooth finish because the sanding sealer's raised the grain again. So it's on with the ago.It, as we now call it. And work this in for a good couple of minutes with the lathe at a standstill preferably, so you can really get at it. And when I've done all that, I shall spin the lathe on and carry on rubbing this ago.It in. And that's the ago.It on and off again. You can see the shine on that already. There's no polish on this yet. This is just what Yorkshire grit does, and I couldn't be happier with that product. It's brilliant. Well done, Glyn. And now I'm going to treat it to a couple of coats of wax, maybe 3. I'm just going to keep putting the wax on till I can't get any more on, basically. Give this the best finish I possibly can. Well, I finished it, and so we'll go over to the presentation table. I'll show you the finished article. Presentation table, have a laugh. It's my table saw with a bit of paper on it. Well, there's the finished bowl, and I'm chuffed a bit with that. Get the light on it, you can see the beautiful shine on that. The grain pattern is absolutely gorgeous. I'm pleased with the shape. I managed to get the inside the same as the outside. See, even got special effects now with shavings around the outside. So yep, I like that a lot, and I think Sheila will be pleased with that. Well, she better be. She would have a bath in that, she's so little. There you go, that's it. Beautiful. So many thanks to Leon Britton for supplying that piece of wood at the Symposium, and I'm chuffed a bit with that. Hope you liked it. I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye for now.